Hey everyone, C22 Pictures here, and now I know I'm still late to this party, but the Batman came out last week, and I gotta give my thoughts on it. Because I was wrong about that movie. I went in with some very, very high expectations. The trailers looked great. I shouldn't have watched the clips that they released, but I did. That was kind of a mistake, but you know what? We're here, and I gotta say, did the Batman live up to my expectations? No, no, it did not. It exceeded them. I don't think I've ever been as immersed in a movie as I have been for that movie. It just blew my mind by how overwhelming it felt and how good it was. I'm also gonna say no spoilers in this video, because it came out last week. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review, but I don't really know. I kind of think I can get all my thoughts out here without spoiling anything. However, if you want to go into this movie completely blind, not knowing anything, please click off, come back after you see the movie, because I think it's so worth it to kind of go in as blind as possible. But to each their own. Alright, what did I think of this movie? I think it was amazing. It was good. Any word you want to use to describe it, I think, is applicable here, because this movie was... I feel like it was kind of profound, and that may sound weird, but, like, a 3-hour movie should not feel long. If it feels long, I feel like you've made a mistake. However, here, with it being as long as it is, it didn't feel like a mistake, and it felt really cool to be like, oh my god, this is a really long movie, but I'm in it. I'm in it for the long run, because I guess this isn't really a spoiler. The movie takes place over a week. And so when you're in there for 3 hours, you really feel that. Like, you feel that it takes place over a week. It's not like it flashes by and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it took place over a week and we saw 2 days. You feel the time. And I felt like that was more immersive than anything. What did I think of the characters? I think the big one that you have to talk about first, before Batman, is Gotham City. Gotham City is its own character, and I feel like when you're watching it, when you watch The Dark Knight, or you watch Tim Burton's movies, or you watch Joel Schumacher's movies, Gotham doesn't feel like a character or Gotham. It feels like Chicago, feels like New York, feels like this gothic stage play. That's how I have always pictured it. But then you watch this movie, and it looks disgusting. Like, no one would want to live there. Lights are flickering all the time. It's raining all the time. And I mean that every single nighttime scene, which the movie mostly takes place during night, it's raining, it's pouring. It is not a good place to live. And you really question, why are people living there? And that's what you should do. Because when you look at Batman Begins, or more so The Dark Knight, you're like, I can see why people live there. It's Chicago. But here, it's like no one would want to live there voluntarily. Then we get into Batman. 100%. Watching this movie, I can confidently say Robert Pattinson is my favorite live-action Batman. Second off, I can also say, when I was watching this movie, I wasn't seeing Robert Pattinson as Batman, I was seeing the Batman. He didn't... it's a different take, 100%, but it really is, just Batman, and you can't... It's not the most traditional take on the character, but it felt so close to the comics that I loved his performance. His voice was phenomenal. I made the joke saying it was what Christian Bale was attempting to do, and then failed and did his super. So I think Robert Pattinson's voice was way better. Then, the suit. When we saw set pictures, I thought looked really bad. And then watching the trailers, I was like, oh, that looks so cool. And then seeing it in the movie, oh my god, best live-action Batsuit. Just everything about this Batman is perfect. I really have no complaints. Then you get into Riddler as the main villain. That is terrifying. Paul Dano as Riddler is terrifying. And I haven't seen him in any of his other work. This is the first time I've seen him. And it was terrifying. There's a scene right at the beginning that is dedicated to him, and it is shot like a horror movie, and it is creepy. Like, you are left with this, like, oh, what's gonna happen? And I think that was beautifully done. And anything else I say about him really comes off as spoilers, so I can't really say much more about Paul Dano as Riddler. Just blew me away with his performance. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Again, anything I really say about any of this movie is spoilers. She was phenomenal. I mean, like, this whole movie was like my ideal Batman. Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman now. Zoe Kravitz is my favorite Catwoman. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon is my favorite Commissioner Gordon. I loved his dynamic with Batman, and, like, the best compliment I can give to this movie is it is a comic book brought to life, more so than any other comic book movie that's ever existed. And I was going to make a trailer analysis video, and then obviously the movie came out, so scratch that idea. But what I have to say is that you could pause the trailers and you can pause the movie, like, any point you want, and most likely, like, 99.9% of the time, it looks like it could be a comic book panel. Like, just draw it, and that could be a comic book panel. They break the rule of thirds a lot, having characters center focus. Everything around them is blurry except for the character in the frame. And the lighting's great, and I think all of this boils down to the fact that the cinematography is phenomenal, and Greg Fraser is a beast, and, like, huge inspiration to me as a creator myself, because it just looks beautiful. And, like, it's so hard to explain, but it looks beautiful. And, like, he has this idea of, like, if you don't notice the cinematography, that's the biggest compliment he can get. And it's when you're watching it, yes, you can go, oh, that was a cool shot. Oh, that's a cool shot. But, like, when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just immersed. And that's what his job was to do. And it worked. And the way he plays with colors and light, he doesn't use artificial light most of the time. He tries to use natural light and just shape it. And I could make an entire video about Greg Fraser and how good he is at his job, but I'm blown away with this entire movie. And I know this is probably just me rambling a lot, but I think everyone should go see this movie. Well, not everybody. If you really like gritty crime thriller noir movies, go see this movie. If you like Batman, go see this movie. If you just want to make fun of Robert Pattinson because he was in Twilight, go see this movie. You will think differently, guaranteed. If you want to if you were like, I know nothing about Batman, I want to go watch this movie, go see this movie. Like, because, spoiler alert, Batman's parents die. But we don't see that in this movie. And because we don't see it, everyone still knows that his parents died. And you still know the history of Batman. And it skipped all the stuff we didn't need to see. Matt Reeves is a genius and made this movie a true masterpiece. I mean that with every sense of the word. I really don't have any complaints about this movie, like, at all. And I think, for me, the movie is a 10 out of 10. I legit have no complaints. I think it is perfect. And unlike Spider-Man No Way Home, which I said was perfect when I first saw it, because it had all this stuff going against it. It had multiple characters. It had nostalgia. Like, it shouldn't have worked, but it did. It's just a true masterpiece. And Matt Reeves may have wanted to make this a one-off and just make that Gotham PD show, which I'm pretty sure is canceled. But I can't wait to see a sequel. I can't wait to see I want them to make a Batverse. I don't need other DC superheroes coming in. I just want him to get a Robin in a few movies, then that Dick Grayson Robin become Nightwing, get Jason Todd, do the Red Hood storyline. I just want them to make this an entire expansive Batman universe. I think that would be so cool. And yeah, I can't say much more without going into spoilers, so go see the Batman. It is amazing. That's a wrap.